When you were younger, did you ever have an imaginary friend? Well, this Uma did, does, and continues to have. This is the story, the real-life story of Manhattan Cafe. Cafe, for me, is one of those horses that I haven't really seen too much on. If you go onto Twitter, you'll see these big, long paragraph after paragraph posts about the lives and the stories of the horses. But I don't think I've seen one for Cafe yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Pyrex, who always does a fantastic job with these videos, put together a compilation of the story of Manhattan Cafe. So let's get straight into the reaction, guys. Let's go.
Umamusume has a wide cast of characters, with some claiming the spotlight as the primary focus for an anime season. Even if an Uma isn't the main focus, acting as a supporting role, their history can still prove to be just as interesting as the main character of the season. One such character
I could agree with that.
Appears in Beginning of a New Era, acting as an acquaintance of Agnes Tachyon. She stands out as unique with both her personality, motivations, and even down to her race attire. An Uma chasing after a ghostly friend, continuing to race despite physical deterioration and illness. This is the story of Manhattan Cafe.
Okay, let's get into it.
Phantom of Umamusume.
Again, I feel like I say this in every single video, but the naming sense of the Japanese when it comes to racehorses is absolutely phenomenal. The Black Phantom
Manhattan Cafe was born on March 5th, 1998 in the city of Chitose, Hokkaido at the Shodai Farm.
Hokkaido again. There are so many farms in Hokkaido.
Is an incredibly important driving force in the world of Japanese horse racing. The Shodai Farm operates multiple farms and related businesses, producing many top-class racehorses domestically. Sunday Silence, one of the greatest sires in Japan's history, was purchased by this farm. In addition,
I see.
was also acquired by the farm as well.
I see. So this farm had a cheat code straight from the get-go, because Sunday Silence is the actual epitome of Japanese horse racing. So to purchase him as a breeding sire, that is just unlocking cheat codes early on to have a stupidly successful stable.
An incredibly strong Canadian racehorse with a staggering race history, only adding to the high stature of the farm. As we learned in my previous video with Grass Wonder, farms like these make a majority of their earnings from either racing or auctioning off racehorses with strong pedigrees.
Deep Impact, jeez.
For Manhattan Cafe.
Legendary horses.
Would be one such horse included in the JRHA Select Sale in 1998. This sale of Cafe would catch the attention of Fusao Sekiguchi, who'd purchased Manhattan Cafe for 136.5 million yen. However, before Cafe could officially debut,
it's a lot of money.
Transferred to Kiyoshi Nishikawa,
it's a lot of money.
Racehorse owner in Japan. The ownership of Cafe would be split at this point, with Nishikawa and Teruya Yoshida, the representative of the Shodai Farm, claiming co-ownership of Manhattan Cafe. Unlike other racehorses we've covered on the channel before, Manhattan Cafe would have a late start to his career. It is common for most racehorses depicted in Umamusume to debut in their 2-year-old year, peaking and competing in the classics in the 3-year-old year that follows. Cafe would debut in 2001, but before we dive into his career, we need to establish
they'd have been about 3 years old, right?
Reaching the race course. Manhattan Cafe, upon Nishikawa claiming ownership, will be trained by Futoshi Kojima at the Miho Training Center. Kojima, prior to becoming a trainer, would be a well-known jockey who rode several horses who appear in Umamusume. Famously, Kojima would jockey both Sakura Chiyono-o and Sakura Bakshin-o for the entire duration of both careers. The history between Nishikawa and Kojima is due to a choice encounter itself. When Kojima was still an active jockey, by chance, he'd be seated next to Nishikawa at a sushi restaurant in Roppongi. After a brief discussion, Nishikawa warmed up to Kojima, stating that, when he became a trainer, he'd love to entrust one of his horses to Kojima. Following this interaction, Kojima would train several horses owned by Nishikawa, these being Carib Cafe, Eagle Cafe, and now Manhattan Cafe. Manhattan Cafe.
So again, I know the nicknaming sense is absolutely insane. I do quite enjoy how some farms or stables tend to follow a trend with like the naming sense. Like obviously you've got the Air Farm, which have Air Groove, Air Shakur. Obviously this farm had a bunch of cafes. You had the O's, the Bakashino, the Opera O's. So I do quite like, I find that really fascinating how they select their actual names. And also, right time, right place, just having sushi in Roppongi, and then it just leads into everything that well, I presume is going to happen in this video. It's again, extremely interesting.
Honors his owner and trainer. Due to the history between Nishikawa and Kojima,
And she's got the white ahoge to match.
The suffix cafe tended to be more successful for Kojima to train. Manhattan was given to him by Nishikawa, named after the city of Manhattan in New York. In addition to cafe being a good luck charm as a suffix, it also represented the horse's appearance as well. His black coat similar in appearance to a dark roast coffee. Cafe's appearance in Umamusume also stands out in
milk on top.
Racewear. Cafe's race attire pays tribute to his owner, Nishikawa. Nishikawa would rarely show his face in public. However, the few times he did, he could be seen wearing an all-black suit, yellow tie, and black gloves. Few photos of Nishikawa exist.
I don't suppose he also raced Stay Gold then, because Stay Gold has extremely similar attire.
But the appearance of Cafe in Umamusume is a direct resemblance to his mysterious owner. Speaking of which, you know who else has an amazing design? Chevelle.
Yep, that's fair.
I absolutely love this character.
Chevelle does look great.
For 40k subscribers, I have a challenge for all of you watching.
Oh.
If this video hits 2k likes, I'll host a giveaway for this Chevelle Grand figure shipped right to your door. All you have to do is reach the like goal and comment your favorite Uma down below. Best of luck, trainers, and thank you all for your continued support.
You know, right? You know. I expect you guys are watching my reaction video to head over to his video at the end of this video. If you're watching this, you've already seen the original. At the very least, I hope so. But if you haven't, head over to the original, give it a like, get yourself in with a chance to win a very cool figure. Back to the video.
Along with the top-class trainer, Cafe would be jockeyed by Masayoshi Ebina. Ebina, for those of you who see my Grass Wonder video, would be the jockey to take over Matoba's
I love the crossover.
Jockeying El Condor Pasa following the Mainichi Okan. In modern day,
a lot of crossover in
Ebina is regarded
horse racing.
as one of the top overseas Japanese jockeys in international competitions. Though they're not in the global Umamusume game or anime yet, only present in the JP version, Ebina would jockey Bubblegum Fellow.
I love her design. I love her design. As you guys might know, I don't know if I have a different audience for the Umamusume videos compared to my usual content, which is Hololive related. She looks so much like Bae from Hollow English. I like her design quite a lot.
Menno, Dream Journey, and Nakayama Festa.
So two of those are Stay Gold kids. I think they are anyways. Infesta and Dream.
In addition to having a strong group behind him, Cafe
in fact, no, the left one is as well. They all are. They all are something to do with Stay Gold.
One of the most famous sires Japan would ever see. In my time researching racehorses, Manhattan Cafe's pedigree is one of the most detailed that I could find, going back 7 generations. Along with Sunday Silence, Cafe's mare would be another notable name. Subtle Change was a winning racehorse in Ireland, but more importantly, Change was a descendant of Schwarzwald Bolt.
What a name! What a name!
Numerous strong winners. In the years leading to his debut race, while training at the Shadai Ranch, Cafe was highly regarded due to his obedience and good-mannered nature. It was rare for descendants of Sunday Silence to show such good temperament while training, yet Cafe was very easy to work with and took training very quickly. Prospect was there for Cafe to be a strong competitor due to his calm demeanor, jockey synergy, and good mood overall. Sadly for Cafe, even with the promising aspects of future victories, a new roadblock would suddenly appear.
No.
Cafe was a very delicate horse, soon showing signs of weakness in movement and very weak internal organs.
Ooh.
In addition,
Ooh.
he had vulnerable hooves which were prone to injury.
Ooh.
Despite the health problems, Cafe still showed exceptional talent despite his flaws. On January 29, 2001, Manhattan Cafe would enter his debut race.
The eyes are looking a little bit red.
Due to a late start and Ebina's inability to hold the reins properly, Cafe would finish 3rd overall. In the race that followed, Cafe would secure his first victory.
Okay, cool.
Even so, the next race would be one far above the grade of these newcomer races. Cafe would compete next in the Yayoi Show, a race which brings together the strongest horses from Japan and is widely seen as a major prelude to the classic Triple Crown series. Due to further declining health, Cafe would lose 20 kilograms between his second race and the Yayoi Show. The Yayoi Show would be held on March 4, 2001. with his previous newcomer race only being a month prior, held on February 11th.
I don't know the result of this race, but I am thinking if your horse has lost 20 kilos, it might not be the most responsible thing to race that horse and to make sure it gets the care it needs first. But again, she could have absolutely smashed it. I don't know. It just feels in the gut to me.
This race was displayed in beginning of a new era, and by this point, it was already established that Cafe was sickly in the anime, a direct reflection of his declining health. Manhattan Cafe would finish 4th place in this race, with Agnes Tachyon taking 1st. In the Umamusume
I mean, 4th
anime,
isn't bad, but
Tachyon
still.
and Cafe have a few interactions, with Cafe clearly annoyed whenever she's engaged with Tachyon. Tachyon, who is obsessed with Umamusume research, constantly asks Cafe if she's caught up to her friend, almost taunting her in her own way. Manhattan Cafe, despite declining,
I'm curious about the lore behind the friend.
Claiming she's chasing after her dear friend. This friend, though never physically shown in the anime, appears as a black silhouetted phantom, a ghostly figure that Cafe wishes to match. This figure is believed by many players to be the image of Sunday's silence. Coming from such a strong lineage,
I see, that makes sense.
Body at birth, Cafe's sharp drop in health only left untapped potential held back by his own body's weakness. Cafe, in Umamusume, would persevere even with the various ailments plaguing her, attempting to reach a peak of horse racing, the image of Sunday's silence.
So that's
In
the
addition,
after image.
Cafe would bear a striking resemblance to his sire. Even the silhouette Cafe is chasing in the anime appears to be another form of herself. Most racehorses set a goal to claim the Triple Crown title. However, for Manhattan Cafe, that dream would die at the Yayoi show. Being a prelude to the Satsuki show
Didn't need to
and
put
not
it like
placing in
that.
the top 3,
God, that sounds so
Cafe lost the
depressing.
opportunity to participate by one single placement. Cafe's
Oh,
declining health continued to chip away at his racing potential, dropping his placement at his next race at the Azalea show to 11th place overall. Even with the inability to claim the classic Triple Crown, Cafe's trainers still had full intention of entering him into Tokyo Yushun. However, with continual weight loss and poor performance,
I was gonna say,
they'd abandoned the second leg of the classic titles, instead aiming to aid Cafe in recovering before his next race.
that's
sequence of
the
training
correct choice,
Waldo
yes.
is once more represented in the Umamusume movie, showcasing the small interactions between Manhattan Cafe and Agnes Tachyon regarding her training despite her crippling health. Cafe repeatedly states that she wants
Tachyon's
to
such
catch
a
up to her
menace.
friend, which is something Agnes constantly holds over her. We see a stark contrast between Tachyon and Cafe through these interactions. Tachyon, who was born with strong racing capabilities, would barely train and still dominate the race course, only to be forced to retire early to avoid further injury. Cafe, although from a strong lineage, will be dealt a bad hand in his first year of training, with a weak body and constantly deteriorating health. Even so, she continued to persevere while chasing the ideal image, this friend that she's trying to surpass. Cafe's next 2 races will result in first place finishes.
Okay, that's good.
The hope of Cafe displaying a strong racing potential. These were both ungraded races.
That's fine, it still wins.
The Tokubetsu, held on August 4, 2001.
Both in
and the
Sapporo,
Akondo
so
Tokubetsu,
back in
held
Hokkaido.
on August 26, 2001. With 2 wins under his belt and seemingly bouncing back from deteriorating health, Manhattan Cafe would next
let's
aim
go,
for the
let's go.
same Light Kinen. This G2 graded race would allow priority entry to the Kikka show should Manhattan Cafe place within the top 3.
And this is the longest
Though
race
Cafe's
in
health
the
seemed stable,
classics.
he would once more suddenly drop in weight, losing 10 kilograms between the point of him racing on August 26 and the Saint Light Kinen, which would take place on September 16th. The sudden weight drop was due to Cafe's weak internal structure, causing his weight to fluctuate irregularly as his career continued. In addition to poor health, Cafe would also not be jockeyed by Ebina for this race. Ebina would already be set to jockey Admire Road, another competitor at the Saint Light Kinen. Due to this, Cafe would be temporarily jockeyed by So Nihon Yanagi. Though a temporary jockey, Nihon Yanagi would be from an impressive bloodline of famous trainers and jockeys,
Okay.
one of the most notable being his grandfather, Yuji Nohira, who would be the trainer for Symboli Rudolph during his racing career. Cafe
That's
was
one hell of a
unfortunately
name!
not placed within the
That's
top
one
3 of the Saint
hell of a
Light.
name.
placing 4th overall.
Oh, one place again.
Show priority placement.
One place
Curiously,
again.
as Cafe's race history would display, his very next race would be the Kika show.
Oh, so he still
With
got
only
in.
15 competitors registering for this race, Cafe was able to slip his way in.
Okay, cool.
Aiming to fill
Good.
the full 18-slot roster for the final chance to claim victory in a classic race. Though brief, this race is displayed in beginning of a new era, with Tachyon rewatching the race footage of the Kika show. This race would be met with strong competitors for Cafe to go up against, two notable names being Dansu Flame and Jungle Pocket. Pocket, unsurprisingly, would be the fan favorite to win. Coming off their recent victory at the Tokyo Yushin, Cafe would hang in the middle of the pack for a majority of the race itself. However,
Number 2. Okay,
when
keep an eye out for number 2.
began to surge forward near the final home stretch, so did Cafe. Both Cafe and Despot were not seen as fan favorites to win, Cafe placing 6th in the fan vote, and Despot 11th.
Where's she
As
at?
the movie would show us, Cafe would seize victory, pulling ahead at the very last second over Despot. This would be depicted as her once more chasing after the Phantom of Sunday Silence in the anime as she raced in the Kika show. Even though Cafe was unable to claim the classic Triple Crown, despite all the roadblocks he faced,
Look at him
he was
go!
able to claim
Look at him
at least
go!
one
Look at him
classic title.
go!
Instead of continuing to ride the high of this win, Kojima would instead opt to allow Cafe to rest for a short period, ranging from October 22nd, 2001 to December 22nd, 2001, aiming to improve his health overall. Following this, Cafe would be placed in yet another race against strong competitors. On December 23rd, 2001, Manhattan Cafe would
You know
find
this
himself
race.
participating in the Arima Kinen. This race would pit Cafe against the undefeated racehorse of the year 2000, TM Opera, as well as Meisho Dodo
The
and
Emperor
Narita
of the
Topro.
end of the century.
Unsurprisingly, these 4 horses were the 4 top fan favorites to win this race. As the race began, To the Victory would stay comfortably in first place, with American Boss trailing in second. All 4 fan favorites were spread out as the race began all the way till the final homestretch. It would be in this homestretch that Manhattan Cafe would once more surge forward, clearing 600 meters in an astounding 33 seconds. Cafe
Sounds
would
pretty
be
fast.
in a fierce rush to the finish line with 4 other competitors, these being American Boss, To the Victory, TM Opera, and Meisho Dodo. Cafe would pull ahead in the final moments of the race, claiming the back-to-back G1 victory in the Kika show and now the Arima Kinen. This would end Cafe's first year of racing on a high note, having won 1 classic race and one of the Grand Prix titles.
Really
Cafe
came good
would
at
be
the end of the
nominated
year.
as Best 3-year-old horse in 2001. However, Jungle Pocket would claim this title, who'd won both the Tokyo Yushin and the Japan Cup. Entering the year 2002, Cafe would participate in the Nikkei show,
It's probably
which
fair
would be
that.
held on March 23, 2002. Due to unstable conditions of the race course, and once more irregularity in Cafe's health, he would place 6th in this race, despite being the fan favorite to win after his strong back-to-back G1 victories. Cafe would struggle to navigate this race due to hoof instability, causing his jockey to also encounter some difficulty while riding Cafe. Cafe's next race, just like the Arima Kinen in 2001, would once more bring 2 strong competitors to the track.
So Narita Top
Narita
Road.
and Jungle Pocket would face Cafe in the 2002 Spring Tenno show, which would be held on April 28, 2002. Manhattan Cafe would be second favorite to win under Narita Top Road, with Jungle Pocket being third in the fan favorite. Top Road had claimed 2 consecutive victories prior to the Spring Tenno show, defeating Pocket previously, which would only add to his overall popularity. Manhattan Cafe and Narita Top Road would closely follow one another, eventually reaching the final homestretch of the race, where Cafe would surge ahead of Top Road. Passing Top Road,
Off she
Jungle
goes.
Pocket would give chase, with Cafe barely retaining his lead position, claiming a victory at the Spring Tenno show. Though this victory was yet another high in Manhattan Cafe's difficult racing career, much like many Umas,
Considering all the
one
difficulties,
decision will
3
lead to his next
G1s.
race being his last.
Oh, for fuck's sake, can we not? Can we not? I was just... Yes, go on Manhattan Cafe, despite all the difficulties behind... Despite every single obstacle that's been put in front of him. Has 3 G1 wins. That is not an easy accomplishment. I did not need to hear that last sentence.
Following the Spring Tenno show, Manhattan Cafe would see no racing activity till October of 2002. This was due to a choice that would shift Manhattan Cafe's career. In August of 2002, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe would be announced.
Did they take him to
with
France?
Shanghai President Yoshida and trainer Yoshida aiming to travel abroad to compete. This was to try and establish Cafe as the successor to Sunday Silence, who was an international winner in the racing world. This also, once more, plays into the ghostly friend Cafe is chasing in beginning of a new era. Although President and trainer Yoshida wanted to take Cafe abroad, Nishikawa was against it. Despite this, he would lose to a 2-1 vote, and ultimately, Cafe would be brought to France, where he'd be conditioned to compete in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, which would take place on October 6. This choice, as we've seen before with Simbali Rudolph's career, would sadly—
Listen to your jockeys. But jockeys know the horses in these conditions. It's jockeys and trainers know the horses in these conditions over any owner who has got his eyes lit up by yen, by dollar, by pounds. They have the horse's best interest at heart. Listen to their opinions.
End in disaster. Manhattan Cafe would place a devastating 13th at the Prix, and his body would be broken, sustaining a new case of tendonitis in his left front leg. Due to this, no further discussion was needed, and Manhattan Cafe would officially announce a sudden retirement.
At least he survived. The way, Pyrex, you sneaky devil. The way that you brought us into that, I was expecting the worst. It's not great. It's still awful. But he survived. He made it home.
This is a sad ending to Cafe's real-life career. Umamusume Pretty Derby gives us the possibility of an alternative ending. In the ending farewell event of Manhattan Cafe's story, you, the trainer, and Agnes Tachyon vote against Cafe traveling abroad. In making this choice, you're able to save Cafe from injury. 2 against 1.
I get the symmetry there from real life.
Eventually continuing to race domestically in Japan. This provides a happy what-if scenario to Cafe's story, shining a light on a career that could have continued. Due to the injuries that Cafe sustained, even at his retirement ceremony, held on December 22, 2002, he'd be unable to run or even walk properly, his handler having to keep a slow pace for his final time on the racecourse. Cafe would display a number 4 bid to honor his victory at the Arima Kinen the year prior. Cafe would also be named as the best 4-year-old and older horse of 2002 in Japan. Following his racing career, Manhattan Cafe would stay in the Shadai farm, where he would act as a breeding stallion. Despite the various health issues Cafe faced, several offspring would be G1 victors in their own careers.
Okay, that's good, that's cool.
These G1 winners would include Joe Cappuccino, Red Desire, and Hirono de Amour. His breeding stud career would last until 2015, when his health would sharply decline. Over the years in his retirement life, Cafe would continue to see declining health and a crippling immune system. Previously, Cafe was able to bounce back and enter a successful breeding season year after year. However, in 2015, his health would plunge to the point of no return. On August 13, 2015, Manhattan Cafe would sadly pass away at the age of 17. The cause of Cafe's death was due to a peritoneal tumor, which affects the abdominal area. This would lead to sudden weight drop, loss of appetite, and fluid buildup in the abdomen. Even with Cafe's passing, his race history made him a notable name in Japanese horse racing. A racehorse who would face some of the strongest of his generation, and despite his deteriorating health, would emerge victorious against all odds. Personified in Umamusume as an Uma of perseverance and commitment, racing despite illness and injury, all to chase the shadow of her dear friend. This was the story of Manhattan Cafe, the jet black phantom of Umamusume. Did you enjoy this video, and who should I cover next? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all for joining me, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.
I'm gonna be honest, after the Simboli Rudolph video, I am curious about Kitsuragi Ace's story. I don't know why, that's something that's just stuck with me since that video. I would love to see their actual career and how it played out, Because I think if they were going to do the Symboli Rudolph series, she's the protagonist. She would be the perfect protagonist, and Symboli would be just such an indomitable heel. But I digress. I love these videos. I will continue to watch these videos. I'll continue to enjoy them, because Pyrex just has a fantastic wealth of information and sourcing when it comes to getting all the facts about these racehorses. And I feel like Manhattan Cafe, as a story of overcoming obstacles, overcoming injuries and illness, to win 3 G1s, that is an epic, determined horse who continued to race. I don't know why they decided to take her to France. I know exactly why they decided to take her to France. Listen to the people who know your horses best. That is the... I feel like out of every story so far, the horses which have had good lives and the horses which haven't, that is the difference. The people who know the horses best, who have the best interest of the horse in mind, they're the ones who have the best style of life for the horses in the end. I really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave some likes, recommendations, leave them in the comments, join our Discord if you like, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Laverick out. Bye.